What do you mean my wife can't have any more children? She's only 35, she still has a few more years. The tall, gray-haired doctor gripped the clipboard firmly in his hands, his long fingers trembling slightly as he flipped through the pages in front of him. She had a hysterectomy. She doesn't have a uterus anymore. Because your wife was in a difficult labor, we had to perform a C-section. That's when we discovered the large tumor in your wife's womb. She was bleeding so much, and the mass looked cancerous, so we decided that a hysterectomy was the best option. Youssef interrupted. Best for whom, you or me? Best for your wife, the doctor asserted. Samira looked down at her hands. They rested on her depleted, sore belly. This delivery had been the hardest for her. For some reason, this child had become entangled in the umbilical cord, making a normal vaginal birth almost impossible. They could have both died, the child from suffocation and herself from excessive bleeding. Rolling her head on her pillow, she looked at the baby sleeping quietly in the nearby cart. She had long eyelashes, something the nurses had marveled at when they had washed all the birthing and blood from her tiny face, then lifted her up so Samira could glimpse at the small creature who had almost died before entering the world. She now studied the baby closely. Her brown hair was 2 inches long and straight, not yet curly as it would become in early childhood. Her cheeks were plump, as if she were storing nuts for the long Ottawa winter. And she was a good size, too, almost 9 pounds. A pink ribbon loosely held some pieces of soft hair, making them stand up on her perfectly shaped little head. She didn't have the compressed skull of most newborns, having escaped the birth canal. Samira's eyes moved from the child to her husband. His right hand was clenched in a fist, and he was waving it in front of the doctor's long face. She was afraid that Youssef might punch the physician in the nose. They weren't in the old country. He couldn't take matters in his own hands like he could back home. So you're telling me that I won't have any more children? That I can't have a son? That's correct, but you have 4 beautiful daughters. The doctor smiled at the 3 dark-haired girls standing silently around the baby. The oldest, Rima, gently stroked the baby's hair without waking her new sister. She was 7. Rima's long hair was in pigtails, and she wore a knee-length blue and white checkered dress. A large smile was plastered on her heart-shaped face as she gazed at the baby. Beside her, Katrina stood gripping the cart. She was smaller than Rima and more serious, no smile on her face. Her large round eyes darted back and forth from the baby to her parents. Her wavy hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her skin seemed even paler because of the hospital walls. The second youngest, Mona, was the one least interested in the new arrival, for she had to give up her own baby status to make room for her tiny sister. Her bobbed hair swung around her face while she skipped close to the door and back to the cart again, sticking out her tongue at the baby, who blinked her eyes open, waking to the sound of her father's voice. "Quiescent!" Youssef shouted, throwing his arms in the air, nearly knocking the doctor's wire-rimmed glasses off his slender nose. But he pulled his hand back before he could have hurt the physician. Stepping back, the doctor frowned. He couldn't understand why this man was acting so violently, couldn't comprehend what he was saying. If he had knowledge of Arabic, he would have known that Youssef had offended him in the most insulting way. Quiescent, curse your mother's cunt. But he had no idea what words were hurled in his direction, so he said what he had felt should be said in the present situation. Be grateful you have 4 children. Some people can't have any. Youssef clenched his teeth. Then in frustration, he punched the mattress, startling his wife. She winced in pain. The doctor touched her arm. Are you all right, Mrs. Azar? Do you want more pain medication? Samira shook her head. No, you're not okay? No, medicine. I okay, she stammered. Youssef cleared his throat. My wife's fine. Leave her alone. You've done enough damage. With his head bowed, the doctor quickly walked out of the room, turning back only once to see 2 of the small girls huddled around their mother's bed. The entire family visited Samira and the baby again the next day. Mona, Rima, and Katrina followed their father into their mother's hospital room, trailing solemnly behind him. Samira smiled weakly while her daughters took turns kissing her on the cheeks. Then they looked at their baby sister, wrapped tightly in a pink blanket. An early Easter.